You're gonna have to hit like something on your end. I think it asks you to like okay that you're recording.
Got it.
Recording in progress.
Oh shit.
We needed to have the drafts at a different location. We couldn't have done it virtual because everyone was sick of virtual. So we had to do it somewhere, but it had to be local. Kevin took the reins on it.
Athol, man, being the guy who had to plan it all, find the house, to be honest, was a fucking headache. But other than that, once we got the house, it was fucking amazing. Great time.
Hey! But the best ships are friendships, and to those ships, we drink. Hey!
Welcome to the league, Baker.
Let's go, boys.
I don't understand that.
I watched that video about 50 times and zoomed in on it. Thank God it was a nip. Thank God it was a nip.
That man pouring what may or may not have been a nip into that unconscious man's mouth is me. Kamara Sutra, Samuel Lamar Jackson, Stafford infection, a man can go by many names in the League of Shadows. Started in 2010, the league is a social experiment masquerading as a fantasy football league that my friends and I willingly participate in. Every August, we gather together and consume an unhealthy amount of alcohol in hopes of securing a championship roster and bragging rights for a year at the draft.
You know, the initial excitement when you get there, you go full force, and then you get so full and so drunk that you just want to die. Everybody was going through that at different times, so it was interesting to see some people die and some people rise to the top.
With the limited brain capacity that I had to remember the actual draft, I think the moments leading up to it, I like to call it the draft scramble.
Yeah, I fucked up.
People were either trying to make moves, get a little bit more sober, get more drunk, but everyone had their own personal scramble about an hour before the draft. And if you weren't shaking at that point, you should have been.
I mean, the draft itself for me is like, it's like taking it like the SATs. All right, it's like I'm going against a bunch of drunken fools, but they're like savants for drafting football players. So I'm not really paying attention to what's going on, I guess, or what other people are doing. But obviously, you know, the guy in the dress stands out a lot.
Ah yes, the dress. What started as a punishment requiring the last place finisher from the year before to write all the names on the board at the following draft morphed into a kind of Vanna White thing, to the complaints of absolutely no one.
Yeah, so I was in the dress for the draft, worst place due to another ill-advised trade I made with Naven.
I did a Devils trade with him 3 years ago that sunk his ship to the bottom last year, which I took advantage of last year.
That didn't work out, although it kind of did, I guess. I don't know. Well, I guess it didn't.
It didn't. Drew did manage to finish the 2019 regular season as the number 2 seed before losing to the eventual champion Ava in the second round. Naven, however, used the extra early round picks to stack his roster in the 2000 draft and coast to his second league title.
For the draft, I wanted to get running backs. So I was excited to get Eckler in the first round.
I loved my team. Like, this was the year I was like, I'm going to come out and I'm getting my running backs first. That's what I'm doing.
It seemed almost everyone had the same draft strategy. Running backs were selected with 10 of the 14 first-round picks. The only non-running back selected in the first 8 picks was wide receiver Devontae Adams, a selection that would eventually be voted worst pick of the round by the league.
Being the reigning champ, I had the last pick and then the following pick, having it being a snake draft. I did not like my second round pick. I got booed when I did it. I immediately second guessed myself. So that kind of set the tone for a kind of a iffy draft for the rest of it. I think bad running backs in the second round pretty much have built my history with this league.
When Naven took Michael Turner in the second round, I thought, what a fucking idiot.
This is Michael Turner, at one time a highly productive fantasy running back. In fact, in 2012, at the age of 30, Turner ran for 800 yards and 10 touchdowns for the Falcons before retiring at the end of the season. The following year, in 2013, they even drafted the retired running back in the second round. He blamed it on the rankings of an out-of-date fantasy magazine that he picked up at a gas station. The league had a good laugh at Naven's expense until one minor hiccup.
You let that idiot win the league.
Do I regret doing it and then taking home championship? No. Jacobson too, it didn't work out.
So the one questionable draft choice that I remember from the draft was Tim 2 picks before his pick, choosing Henderson for Cardarelli's team over Miles Sanders, where there wasn't a single draft ranking that agreed with that. And then Tim went on to pick Sanders 2 picks later. Certainly felt like there was some shenanigans in play there.
Yeah, there was some talk that Tim was making some picks for Mark that were not in Mark's best interests. To that, I would say, a lot of people were crying because everybody loves to just cry and complain in this league. I don't think Tim picked a terrible team for Mark, but I mean, Mark's team was, top of the league for like the first 6 or 7 weeks or something. But I honestly was too drunk to care.
Of course I wasn't sabotaging Mark, and his record out of the gate showed it. A shocking 6-1 for Autodraft Cardarelli and alone in first place halfway through the season. However, a Week 8 injury to Titans running back Derrick Henry quickly returned Mark's team to the flaming pile of trash it always has been.
I enjoyed the season because of Mark's downfall. It was fantastic. We all saw it coming. He had his moment at the top. He plummeted fast, very fast.
So I remember Mark pulling out pretty quickly with all those wins. And I remember when I played him, I beat him. That right there told me that this could be my season.
By the Week 12 trade deadline, the standings were packed. 9 teams within 1 game of the 6 playoff spots, creating a very active trade market that would put the commissioner in the crosshairs.
The trade deadline was crazy this year. Everyone was trying to build the super teams.
A lot of big names moved at that trade deadline. Jacobs, Chubb, Keenan Allen.
Arlington reached out to me and was like, "Hey, you want Keenan Allen?" I was like, "Sure." So we worked something out, and then I got Josh Jacobs, but he was a little more pricey. The reason I came up is because I was trying to trade with Pat, and he's being real dick about it.
What's in it for you?
Huh?
What's in it for you?
He was wanting like a 3rd round or a 4th round for somebody who wasn't even as good. So when I heard Josh Jacobs was available at a lesser price, I jumped on it.
Tim got a trade vetoed that probably saved the season.
Yeah, so the Pat Tim Hines trade, that was a real disaster, and it made me create a rule that both parties in trades have to text me and agree to a trade before it's completed.
The trade itself was pretty simple. Pat offered me Saquon Barkley and Kyle Pitts for Hunter Renfrow and Dalton Schultz. The marquee names were definitely on his side, but his guys were largely underperforming, and the stats favored my players. Barkley's injury made it a wild card, and I decided to roll the dice and accepted the deal.
Where it got screwed up is everybody was in an uproar because they always complain about everything. And they said, we're looking for draft picks, and Pat said there were draft picks. Tim Hines, like 24 hours before the trade deadline, is like, text me, and he's like, "Oh, hey, by the way, there's no draft picks in that." So, like, you can't have somebody saying draft picks, no draft picks, and that's what it was that made me finally say, all right, I'm sending this back.
The production team of this documentary tried extensively to reach Pat Gahan for comment, but unfortunately, he refused to be a part of this project.
Pat is central to a lot of these trades that don't make any sense. A lot of these trades that people aren't sure what's going on. And just a guy you got to keep your eye on all times.
Pat made a ludicrous bet. He texted the group. He was like, I bet Kevin if I win, I get to take a person off his team and vice versa. And I quickly responded with, yes, a deal. And I ended up beating him in a close game. And like I said, I just took Mike Evans. Who did he get? Cole Beasley. I need to get him off my team. He was going to give my team COVID. Everyone else was like, no, Vito, that's stupid, blah, blah, blah. I was like, Pat, we're keeping, I don't care what they say, we're keeping this bet.
Yeah, Pat and the Mike Evans trade. I actually don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you let that go. Surprisingly.
Anyways, the regular season culminated in one of the most competitive playoff fights in league history. Tiebreakers were used to sort out the mess, and in the end, two teams with 8-6 records missed the playoffs entirely, despite having the same record as the number 3 seed.
The interesting thing I think about the year was just the fact that, with the exception of a couple of the teams, nobody was really ever out of the playoffs until the final week. So it was probably the most teams in contention in a fantasy football season that I've ever been a part of.
The semifinals, those 4 teams definitely deserve to be there. I felt like I should have been there, and I'm still really upset about it, and that's all I really say about that.
Again, due to my excellent roster management, I added Tyler Huntley, who killed it against Cedrone, and then I started Burrows the next week, and he killed it against Dabo.
So I had my annual first place finish. That's what it seems like. I'm always finishing near the top, and then my team blows up on their bye week, and then they shit the bed in the first round of the playoffs, so that wasn't fun. I felt good going into the playoffs, and then Joe Burrow fucked me in the ass without taking me to dinner.
Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams came back to annihilate me to take the win. Had I won that game, because I remember bragging about it to my wife, I was like, there's no way he comes back. Had I won that game, I think the momentum, I'm a huge believer of momentum. I swear to God, the momentum would have swung my way in the finals, but those two destroyed my momentum. Those two ultimately have taken this away from me. And, I don't think my kids look at me the right way anymore. So.
As if destined by the fantasy gods themselves, Drew and I would play for the title. Frankly, I was thrilled not to be facing Abba, as historically speaking, Drew's terrible at fantasy football. Prior to the 2021 season, in fact, in the decade plus that the League of Shadows had existed, Drew had never even won a playoff game, a fact that he was well aware of. Hence the desperate moves like vetoing trades of his competition and ridiculous draft pick swaps that resulted in more dresses than titles.
My poor performance historically, I don't consider to be my fault. I consider it to be my players' faults, and I've picked the right players, but they just haven't played very well. And so to be in the finals against Tim Hines, that is, it's just icing on the cake. All he does is run his mouth and like you say something and he just brings up, oh, your record is this in the fantasy football. So it's like, let's just shove a championship trophy up his ass, So that's what I think about that.
I knew I had Drew on tilt, and now was the time for me to make my move. I offered the well-known degenerative gambler a side bet in public to put the commissionership up for grabs in the championship. Now I know what you're thinking. Why would someone so absolutely drunk on power ever agree to a bet that would put in jeopardy his stranglehold on the one position of power he has in his life? Well, there is precedent.
Let me just say, I did lose commissionership of the league for a brief period. Dan Avon, challenged me to a half-court shot contest, and I'm not one to say no. So I agreed, and I think it was like the third one or something. He hit it, and go to the video. Thank you. Okay, so he did hit it, and luckiest thing he ever did in his life. So he got the championship, he got the power, and we all quickly realized that he couldn't do it.
It's true, Maven was weak, and he lost the crown pretty quickly back to Drew. But the bet was out there. But was it a legit bet? There was no official league post about it, or really any post about anything.
Drew as commissioner, I feel like he's teetered out a little bit. I feel like he's just kind of given up. The league itself, I've loved it every year I've been in it. But you can definitely tell, like updates and stuff like that have taken a backseat to what I don't know what. But
what I did not like, and this is a huge what I did not like, was the lack of league updates.
The message board was empty all year, and there were no recaps. I don't know what's going on with our commissioner.
League updates are great. A lot of times I don't want to be here anymore, so I don't have time for it. I have 2 kids, and a wife, and 2 dogs, and a job. Yesterday, one of my kids pooped in a Barbie dollhouse tub. So, like, you know, I got stuff like that going on.
The ambiance of the league is gone, I would say. And I feel like there should be some new blood.
The stage was set for the biggest title fight in league history. While my roster was a locked and loaded killing machine waiting for its next victim, Drew had been successfully tinkering with his roster all playoffs.
I believe Tim is favored with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams leading the pack. But Drew's quarterback situation is a mystery. He could start Huntley and throw up 60 points. He could start Joe Burrow and put up 40 points. Who knows?
In a year where roster management is at its peak, where you need to be on top of things, I have steadily been ahead of everyone else.
If I had to pick who was going to win, I probably would lean towards Tim's team. You know, that combination of Rodgers and Adams is pretty dangerous, but obviously they keep Adams out of the end zone. That's probably all Drew needs to win.
Like, this season is boiling down to this matchup. In the finals, it's coming to fruition. And the fact that it's coming down to who gets to be the commissioner next season is, like, huge. I feel like everybody is going to be watching this fucking game to see who is going to be commissioner next season.
I think that you two have been battling for the spot of commissioner for years, so I think this might end it. And whoever comes up top is going to have the final say on how that's going to go. I think it should be an end-all. You take it, you take over.
I have zero faith in Tim Hines doing the right thing. I think he's just going to go way right field. Like, I'm worried about my buddy Aaron, kicking him out of the league.
My prediction for the finals is that our long nightmare comes true and Tim becomes champion and talks more than ever.
Like I said, I'm a huge advocate for a rags to riches story. So this could be his. You know, from him wearing a dress to a belt the next year, fantastic.
So they call that going from worst to first. And so that's the goal, and that's what I'm going to do this weekend. And I think it just goes to show everybody in the league that I can start out at the bottom, and they're so bad that I can beat them anyway.
It's 1 o'clock. I'm going off to CVS to get light bulbs. I was debating taking out Josh Jacobs and putting in Chase Edmonds, but I'm not sure if James Conner's starting, and I can't take that risk, so I didn't do it. Huntley is starting. Lamar is out, so I think that by the time I get home from CVS, this week could be decided. So need a good first 20 minutes.
Harris at the 5, still going, and he's in again!
Worst 5 minutes. Harris' second touchdown. Patriots interception.
Got an open target. It's Chase at the 40. Look at that move. Look at Chase go! Oh my goodness, what a gear he just found. Chase for the touchdown. Hard stop. He's going toward the end zone. Chase! I'll take that. Touchdown. It's Joe. Wide open. It's Chase. Chase! There is no Chase. It's a touchdown.
It's 3:55. Ronald Jones has ceased to play for some reason. Joe Burrow is on my bench with 100 points. Tyler Huntley has led the Ravens to 24 field goals.
Carr steps away, fires to the right. Got it as Renfro. Renfro down to the 22, gets back up, sprinting for the 10, 5. Jackpot, baby!
Update, kind of slow in this window. My lead's only like 30, 40 points. Projected to win by, like 1,000, dude? Are you fucking serious? Champion Hines, Commissioner Hines. Get used to it, dude. It's this is a thing.
Yeah, Tim, act like you've been there before, bro. Yeah, okay.
I skipped all the Marco Polos, but I had to just point out that Mark's wearing a collared shirt Sunday night at 8 o'clock in his own house.
I'm leading Drew by 2 points as we head into Sunday Night Football, where I will have Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, and Drew has the Green Bay defense.
I need Earthquake. Also, check out how fat I am right now. And then look at me at the draft. See how not fat I am.
From the 11, Aaron Dillon over the middle, touchdown Adams. They've done it again. This Rodgers-Adams combination, they have to be right there, if not the best pair quarterback receiver that the NFL has working together right now.
It was never really close. I crushed Drew by 56 points, joining Aaron, Arlington, and Dan as the only two-time champions in league history. However, had Drew not gotten cute and started 2 career backups instead of his 2 starters that got him there, he would have won by 2 points. But if it makes you feel any better, have you ever seen a sight so beautiful?
The league's been awesome. It's been a fun ride, 11 years. I hope it goes 40 more. I mean, not all of us are going to make it 40 more. Sorry, Pat.
It's awesome. It's like the one thing that, I look forward to every year. Just being able to get a house with you guys and just fuck around. And then we have however many weeks of ESPN football to just talk shit with each other and just feel like we've come together as a group.
Oh boy. We'll keep the party going. For a lot of us, this is all we have,
Play your part. To choose it, lover, never without a rubber. Never in the sheets like it on top of the cover. Money on the dresser, drive a compressor. Top notch, get the most, not the lesser. Trash like the for $40 in the club. Up the game, she gets no love. She be cross country, giving all that she got. 1,000 a pop, I'm pulling billions off the lot. I smashed up the gray one, bought me a red. Every time we hit the parking lot, we turn head. Some wanna choose, but them just too scary. You